For various reasons, I woke up today in not a particularly good mood. And I want to share something that helps me to let go. And on days like this is going to be a different video to what I usually make, which is essays with graphics and all this kind of stuff. But I wanted to experiment with a new format because it's a lot easier to just record audio like this. So if it's something that you enjoy and you find useful, then let me know, because I can make content more easily if it's simpler, and it's just a lot quicker and easier to get out, and also less stressful. What I'm going to talk about today is called the letting go technique, and it's not something that I've invented, although I have adapted it. It's a combination of the work of David R. Hawkins, spiritual teacher, and also something called the Sedona method. And it's for people like myself who find we get stuck in maybe fantasies of the future or regrets about the past, maybe relationships that ended and we're still holding on to those things. This may not apply to you. If it doesn't, then feel free to stop watching this video and find some cat content elsewhere. But if you are still listening, then I'm going to take you through quite a rigorous and straightforward, but not necessarily easy way to start to let go of these things. And it's something that you can do by yourself. It's something that you can do with other people. But for the sake of this video, I'll assume that you're alone right now. One thing to start with, and it might be a bit of a tough pill to swallow, is that we will ultimately let go of everything that we own. When you die, you will let go of your possessions, your relationships. All your relationships will end, and you will let go of your money and your looks and your health. All these things are borrowed. And that might be upsetting, but it's also freeing, because it shows that there's not as much purpose in holding on to things as it feels like. If everything will be let go eventually, then the question is, well, when is a good time? Why hold on to things until the end when there's actually other things that we could be giving our attention to? And it's not that it's bad to hold on to things. I don't want to put a judgment on it. You can hold on to the past or fantasy as long as you want, but there is a cost to doing so. If you are in the kitchen and you have two hands and one hand is holding onto a frying pan, the other hand is holding onto a knife, but there's a pepper on the chopping board, you can't cut the pepper unless you put down the frying pan. So it's a little bit like this. There are going to be opportunities in the future. There are going to be people in the future that will call out for your attention, your love, your work. But if we're holding on to the past, if we're holding on to fantasies and other things, first of all, we might not even see these opportunities, these people. And secondly, if we do see them, we won't have the bandwidth or the capacity to address these things and to give them the attention that perhaps we might want to. And that's the value of being able to let go. Now, what I'm about to say is really paradoxical. You might say, well, how do you let go? It's paradoxical because there is a how to let go, but letting go is something that is natural. The way that it's done is by stopping holding on. And so really the question is not how do you let go, it's how do you stop holding on. It's like an absence of doing something as much as it is doing something itself, like a release. It's like saying, well, how do you fall asleep? Well, you stop staying awake. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but it gets us out of this pushy mindset. It's much more about allowing something to happen than it is about forcing something. And that can be difficult because the whole habit of holding on is about forcing something. Usually when we find it difficult to let go, I think it's because there is an emotional component that doesn't want to be felt. There's a fear of feeling an emotion. And that, in my case, has usually been true. It might not always be true. Often there's going to be a mental rationalization. Oh, well, so-and-so person, they did this to me and I'm going to be angry at them now and till the end of time. But that mental process, I think, usually masks an emotional pain. It could be any kind of emotion, but let's say it's a pain. And because it's frightening to feel pain, emotional pain, the rationalization will sort of kind of create a bandage around that, where looking at that wound is avoided by creating a story. And so in this exercise, in this work, we're going to be very gently just looking at what that wound might be and giving it a chance to heal itself and to breathe. And maybe this will work in one session. It might take multiple tries. It may not work for you at all, but we'll give it a go anyway and see what happens. Let's say, for the sake of example, there is something specific that you would like to let go of. And you know what? I'll just use a real example and you can swap out the components for whatever it is that is applicable to you. And in my example, let's say it's a romantic relationship. So there's a particular person and that relationship has not gone well, or it's ended, or I'm very infatuated with a person and I can't stop thinking about them. And I recognize that this is not what I want to do. It's not helpful on some level for my mental health, my emotional health. And there's a big paradox here, which is that I wrongly feel that if I let go of this thing will disappear or go away. But it's actually just the opposite. If I am able to let go of a goal, I'm actually able to see the goal much more clearly, and I'm able to engage with it with my full faculties. If I'm holding on to it, I may feel that I am able to achieve it more easily, and this could be true in some cases, but often it's this holding on energy that squeezes things and crushes them. And it's, in my experience, a lot better on every level to have a goal or an intention or a relationship, but to hold it very lightly and to be able to let go of it if necessary. And in doing this, paradoxically, it makes that relationship work a lot better, that goal much more likely to be achieved. I'm going to ask myself a series of questions, and these questions don't have a right answer. It's not like I should be saying yes. It's more like a gentle inquiry. And it's actually good if the answer to some of these questions comes back as no, because that gives us a way into it to kind of examine what is going on under the surface. So feel free to swap the subject of these questions for whatever makes sense for you. Like I said, I'm going to give the example of a romantic relationship. So I'm going to find a space where I can be comfortable. Maybe I'm sitting in a chair or lying on the ground. It's good to be a little bit alert, so maybe not lying down, but just away from distractions, because this requires attention and emotional attunement. The first question I'm going to ask is, could I let this go? Could I let this relationship go? Could I let this feeling go? And I'm going to listen to my body. It's not so much a mental thing. it's very much to do with how my body feels, how my heart feels. And so I'm asking this question to my entire system. And in this case, I asked myself, could I let this person go? And the answer I get back is, yes, I could do it. It's possible. It's just hypothetical at this point. And the next question I ask myself is, would I let this go? Would I let this person go? And the answer I got when I was doing this earlier was no. No, I wouldn't do that. And that's fine. And so I say to myself, follow-up question, which is, okay, what is it that I wouldn't let go? And again, I listen to my body, I listen to my mind. And I think of the future fantasy I have built up with this person, image of us together having a child or going on holiday or just enjoying time, cuddling or traveling. And these are all the things that I am holding on to. They might not be immediately apparent, but by going through this inquiry, I'm able to see that that's the case. Now, what's very important here is that as much as I can, I use the mantra allow, and I allow these feelings, these memories, these fantasies to exist. And I don't suppress them. I just allow them to come into my consciousness. And I feel them fully. And in feeling them fully, they can really take up the space that they need for the time that is available. And once I've felt what these are fully, I ask myself about that. And I say, okay, well, I have all these fantasies, these memories. Could I let these go? And the answer I get is, yes, I could do it. Well, would I let them go? Am I willing to let them go? Well, yeah, I guess I am. I would let these go. And the final question of the three is, when? When will I let them go? And this is like shining a mirror back on ourselves and saying, what is the purpose of holding on to these things? If I'm going to let go of them in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, then, well, maybe I could just do it now. And usually the answer I get back at this stage is, well, I'd let go of them now. And when I go through this exercise, what often happens is I let go of the resistance, first of all, to feeling whatever it is that I'm feeling. And I often come out of the other end with a lot more space in my heart. When I did this earlier today, at the end of the exercise, I got all of these memories when I was 21 years old and I was walking through New York City, and there was the smells and the sounds, and everything felt very exciting. And it's like, as we go through life, or as I go through life, I don't know about you, I accumulate these experiences and everything becomes sort of heavy and stuck. And letting go is really powerful, because when you're holding on to all of this stuff, it's like your arms are full and you're like trying to balance everything, and you don't even notice that you're doing it because you're so focused on balancing all of these things. But once you start letting go of these things and putting them down, suddenly you have all of this space that's been created in your heart, in your mind, and in your actions that becomes available to notice and to do other things. So I recommend trying this technique if it's something that you like the sound of. And if you want any more instruction or clarity, I realize I've gone through it in a messy way, then just drop me a comment or send me an email, and I'll try and explain it a bit more or give some more clarity on anything that's unclear. Thanks for your time.